the 10th of January 2020, and it's been a while since I've uploaded. I'm still on the topic of human rights violations and hate crime. I'm still in Tralee, County Kerry, Ireland, and I still haven't received any acknowledgements from the relevant agencies or ombudsman regarding the constitutional wrongdoings that I've experienced, and I haven't received any acknowledgement from my requests for whistleblower protection either. So basically, as I've already stipulated in my previous uploads, there's been an obstruction of justice. There's been very serious violations of every human right in the Declaration, and basically there isn't any positive progress after becoming a parent since my last upload before Christmas. It's now the 10th of January 2020, and the situation is at a standstill. As I've said, the information that I've sought as a citizen hasn't been provided. I've not been updated about what I need to be updated about. The wrongdoings that I've experienced have not been rectified, and as well as that, there are still individuals violating my privacy, claiming falsehoods, unsubstantiated, and basically causing a disruption and disturbance to what was a nice society. So it's just becoming more apparent who's being facilitated. As I've said, a law-abiding citizen, no criminal convictions, no antisocial behaviour perpetrated by me. But I have experienced other people's antisocial behaviour and other people's misconduct. And to think that only yesterday I contacted the office of the Taoiseach and other relevant agencies that are meant to be, safeguarding vulnerable victims of hate crime in society with, the measures that are required, haven't implemented or enacted or provided the whistleblower protection that I'm entitled to. Instead, it seems that people's means of handling all these wrongdoings is by causing further wrongdoings. The only way I can describe that is by how I've already been unlawfully detained twice. The list of wrongdoings I've experienced would nearly fill a copybook. So basically, the integrity of the public servants or individuals involved, or whoever the people are that are meant to be rectifying these kind of situations, is, indifference. They're completely indifferent to what is happening, and they don't have any regard for what they're doing. My career has been ruined. My family life has been ruined. My health has been ruined. My livelihood has been ruined. And the people preventing what I'm entitled to and obstructing what I'm entitled to are being facilitated. The hypocrisy of the individuals involved, claiming that I'm a menace to society and that I'm antisocial behaviour kind of character and such things, just it shocks me. The lengths that people are going to cause this problem is absolutely baffling. As a person that has only volunteered with people and helped people and worked with people, for their betterment and for the betterment of society, and especially for education, I'm absolutely shocked that the human rights agencies, particularly, agencies like the elders, that are to defend human rights, have ignored this situation and that are facilitating the wronging and violating of a woman that hasn't done any harm to anybody. Um, Hate crime basically it's horrendous. And what has been done in this town is absolutely horrendous. And the culprits that are responsible for disrupting the way that, you know, how this town was have a lot to answer for, because I'm not the only victim of this situation. Um, so it's very disappointing. It's absolutely disgraceful that people think just because of their lies and their wealth and their power that they're able to just decide to mess up an individual's livelihood. Um, I've been contacting people since this occurred. I've overcome sexual assault and revenge porn. Um, I've experienced very serious offences, and I'm here now in January 2020, experiencing physical ailments, experiencing financial abuse, experiencing the violation of the Freedom of Information Act, um, information being withheld from me, um, whistleblower protection being withheld from me. Um, you know, so the culprits that are continuously causing these problems um, are obviously intending on causing further wrongdoings, um, and worst of all, are thinking that they're in a position to violate my right to freedom. Um, that's horrendous for any woman in a 21st century democracy to have that kind of a burden to anticipate. Um, People thinking that they can implement Section 12 um, while the culprits run free and have fun with the trouble they're causing is, very contradictory to what is actually intended or meant as the reason for a Section 12. Um, as well as that, there is the religious perspective in this situation. Um, you know, I've said I've been a victim of spiritual violence, and there are people that have been involved in spiritual assault and violence in this community, and they think that they're taking the higher ground by judging me, by criticizing me, by scrutinizing me, by violating me, and by wronging me. Um, there's also the issue of my marital status as a deserted wife and as a woman that's been violated legally. So these are the factors I'm contending with while living in this kind of a situation that politicians have chosen to ignore. Um, so basically, things aren't looking that positive or progressive at all for Ireland when this kind of a situation is happening. Um, the people causing these problems have a lot to answer for and have a lot to owe for what has been done and for what has been stolen from me as a woman that has worked for over 20 years in this county and country. Um, no criminal offences, no involvement in any criminality, and they've made an easy target of an innocent woman. And with the wrongdoings that have already been perpetrated, it's very serious. Um, as I've said, I've experienced 2 unlawful detainments already. Um, I wasn't a mental health patient. I wasn't a threat to anybody, and I wasn't being threatened by anybody. Um, and that, experience of 2 unlawful detainments as a violation of my human right to freedom is very serious, as well as the other human rights violations I've experienced. Um, to think that people are bandying about laws and legalities and legislation without properly informing or providing information that a citizen is entitled to, without any consultation. Throughout this entire situation, there has been no consultation with me. Um, People have just decided to say what they want, as I've said already. They've made the most dangerous claims. They've defamed my character and reputation, and they've tried to incriminate me. And, that's how serious this is. So there's power players playing bad games with bad tactics, and it's going to cause a very serious problem in the long run. And that's the very serious part of this. The people causing these wrongdoings that aren't amending their wrongdoings, not rectifying the damages that I've experienced. Um, you know, and I'm very surprised that with regards to the Section 12 issue in particular, that authorities and politicians don't realise how Section 12s actually work. Um, as a person that's experiencing constitutional wrongdoings and that isn't a threat to society, I should have a protection order or whistleblower protection order provided. Section 12s are for, people that need mental health help, and, you know, this circumstance is absolutely horrendous, the way things are being used and abused in this situation. They're trying to dispose of a problem that they've caused. They're not able to rectify the problem that they've caused. They're not able to compensate for the damages I've experienced, the injuries I've incurred, and they haven't compensated for my losses. There's been a situation exploited. There's been a livelihood destroyed, and Tralee County Kerry um, are facilitating this. So I'm just wondering, is there any conscience about people so progressive and evolved, so respectable, and so intelligent that they can't even confront what has been done, besides trying to make matters worse? Um, so this is the unusual aspect of all of this, because I should be living a very fulfilling life, but this community and its agencies and individuals of hate crime have intentionally destroyed every aspect of my livelihood. And that's hate crime. That means I'm a victim of hate crime. And that means that the culprits that are being facilitated are the offenders. And the offenders are the individuals that the authorities need to be confronting, and, you know. But that doesn't seem to be what's happening because of the inconvenience of confronting the truth, the difficulty of people trying to avoid what is the problem. And I didn't cause this problem. I was not ever involved in the problem. I was a victim of the problem that was caused. And, I'm wondering what kind of a perception have individuals got about this? Because I want my whistleblower protection that I'm entitled to. I also want the ombudsmen that are meant to rectify wrongdoings to confront these issues. But unfortunately, in 21st century democratic Ireland, that doesn't seem to be possible. And what is already a bad situation is attempting to, or is seemingly, being attempted as being worsened and exacerbated with further wrongdoings. Now, I'm fully aware of the tactics of the individuals involved. I've experienced the worst of their tactics, actually. Um, I'm a literary person. As I've said, I've studied anthropology, cultural studies, sociology, comparative literature, media, etc., etc. I'm not technically minded. I don't have, I'm not au fait with technology at all. And I'd say that unashamedly. I'm not fond of technology. Um, but I know there are culprits in the community that are also violating privacy, data privacy, technology, etc., and are potentially causing me yet another problem. Um, so I'm wondering, why are authorities not confronting this? And I'm wondering, why isn't my whistleblower protection request being acknowledged? Is it how the prospect of further wrongdoings against me is being facilitated? And, you know, I'm just wondering, why aren't my legal rights being respected? So, as a law-abiding citizen living contentedly and peacefully and harmoniously with other individuals, um, in society. As I've said, I don't display asbo behaviour at all, and I don't feel threatened by other citizens in this society. I can walk safely down the street, and I'm not in fear. What I'm in fear of are the people in their offices and their rooms doing the most unethical practices in trying to orchestrate yet further wrongdoings. So, you know, that's the situation. It's a repetitive issue that I'm discussing, but it's now the 10th of January 2020 and there's been no progress. But there are individuals that are the culprits of hate crime that have not been confronted about their offences against me. As I've said, 21st century democracy, and to have my right to information violated, I should be informed about what I need to know about, but I've been intentionally obstructed from attaining the information I'm entitled to. So that's the situation today. The Ombudsman still haven't confronted the wrongdoings I've experienced, so I'm wondering why haven't the Office of the Taoiseach contacted me, because I've been contacting them since 2017, and I'm wondering, is the prospect of further offences and wrongdoings in this vendetta of hate crime being facilitated? So, it's a very worrying situation. There's a difference between whistleblower protection, and there's a difference, with what's involved in that EU law with regard to what's happening with Section 12s. The idea of people just, disposing of a circumstance that they're not capable of confronting is a mental health issue in itself. And abusing Section 12s just because, it's the easy out aspect of a situation, a very serious situation that people aren't able to confront, is, So this is the situation of hate crime. This is hatred. There's been hatred and hate speech in Tralee County, Kerry. There have been constitutional wrongdoings, and the human rights agencies that I've contacted have ignored that. And as a woman that's just minding her own business, doing her own thing, living peacefully, and to have people accuse me of being a menace, to accuse me of the most horrendous defamatory claims of my character is absolutely shameful for any town or county or country to facilitate, especially for women. Do you know what I mean? Women that have worked and earned and achieved, to be just so disrespectfully treated. Just it doesn't say much at all. It's very serious. As I've said, there isn't any wealth, position, or power that would ever be able to excuse what's gone on in this county. It's absolutely disgraceful for my human rights to have been violated just because someone didn't like me, and that's what this is down to. So I hope the authorities understand the difference between the culprit and the victim, the offender and the victim. Do you know what I mean? And I hope the authorities understand that my right to freedom is not ever to be violated, and that I have legal rights as well, and that the damages that I've already experienced are already very serious. And the avoidance of confronting those wrongdoings, doesn't say much at all. So while systematically, disabling my rights and whatnot, you know, making me an easy target, easily disposed of, as is attempted in this situation just because it's inconvenient for people to pay up and own up, which is the factor of all of this, because of the damages I've incurred and what I'm legally entitled to is very serious. It's a very serious human rights issue. And as I've said, there's been other women in my circumstance as well. So for the people that don't know how to respect human rights, I suggest they have a long, hard think for themselves about what they've done already to me. um, and what they've stolen from me. And that's going back now to 2005, which has become an issue again because I've already gotten over those offences, and these are now, yet again, further offences that I've had to confront because of other people's mental health issues. So, as a deserted wife, also, um, there's also those aspects involved in this. So, I hope everyone understands how serious this is. I hope the political people and, you know, relevant agencies all understand what they're causing, um, to facilitate anyone else's agenda of hate crime, discrimination and injustice, and to withhold my rights and to obstruct my rights and entitlements is all very serious, especially considering the spiritual violence I've experienced. Um, you know, sexual assault is one thing, but the assault of my light body as a spiritual sentient being is another issue. A more serious issue, actually. My physical body also has been ruined because of what's gone on. And I don't know how the politicians think they're just going to walk over this situation and ignore it. Because there's been a lot of financial abuse and exploitation as well. And my livelihood has been very seriously affected. So when they're looking for notoriety, I hope they remember to practice their propriety, because there's been such foul play, it's absolutely shameful what's gone on. And anyone facilitating this situation, I hope they're checking their morals and conscience, because this is very serious what's happened to my family and myself. So this is my update for today. There's been no progress, but yet there's been more planning about how to dispose of a dirty situation that was caused by dirty tactics. So for the 10th of January 2020, I hope the people involved in these wrongdoings and defamation of my character and violation of privacy and my human rights and my constitutional rights all understand exactly how serious this is. And I hope I'll expect acknowledgements from the relevant agencies and ombudsmen with regard to the wrongdoings that have been perpetrated. And I wish everyone a happy 2020.